then I have to get a passport. I don't even know how that process works. I need to figure all that out, and then I can go to. I want to go to Japan. Really
Japan's
bad.
sick. I would recommend
Korea.
Oh.
I want to go on a North Korea guided tour.
I was on board. I was so on board. I was like, Japan, yeah. And then you're like, I want to go to North Korea. I'm like,
Have you seen the YouTube vlogs of people going on them? It's not necessarily a pleasurable trip. It's more of a life experience, fascination. Like, it's fascinating. Look, hold on.
This is
I'm reading this book right now
itself.
called Becoming Kim Jong-un. I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I'm not trying to become Kim
Yeah, I was going to say, this ends with like a cut, and it's like you in North Korea becoming like a citizen and just staying there.
You're listening to Bought with Nelly.
Do the viewers even know my age?
I think you said it earlier, no?
No, I just said the year I graduated high school. Well, I guess that kind of...
You said you graduated high school and went into a 100K YouTube channel, so I think people can guess kind of where you're at.
Well, 3 years after I graduated high school, after struggling with some pretty bad jobs, but yeah, I'm 22, so...
Disgusting. How fucking dare
I just turned 21 last year. I on my 21st birthday, I bought a beer and I drank like a few sips and threw it away because it was so bad. I don't know.
Oh my god, that's
opinion.
so funny.
People are gonna look at me like, what an absolute loser, straight edge loser. It's like I've been very high before. I've taken shrooms. I'm not like, although
so
right now
funny.
I'm on a sober thing right now, but because I do think, in terms of being productive, marijuana is like the worst thing. And I feel like rappers, they make it seem the opposite. They're like, man, I smoke some of that good, and I'm just in the studio going crazy. And maybe for some people,
yeah.
But for me, marijuana, THC, it makes me lazy. It makes me want to lay on the couch and melt into it. It makes me want to eat a bunch of food and gain a bunch of weight because you get munchies are insane. Like, oh man.
Did you put on some pounds? Is that what you're telling me? You put on a little...
I did. I went up to 200 pounds. I'm 6'2". I put on I got to 200. It's not that bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not bad.
I look way better at like 170. Right now I'm 180. So I've been cutting that back down, but I don't think I look fat. Hopefully,
we'll see what I can do in the edit so that I can, when you zoom in there, I can make your face just blob out.
But if I didn't quit, it's pretty easy to just eat if you're high. Like if you have trouble eating and you need to gain weight, I would recommend marijuana. That's when you do want to do it. But
right. What an endorsement.
But for me, what it does is it makes me very lazy. It makes me go to sleep like after 3 hours. It makes me eat way too much food. Like I'll order DoorDash and then I'll order DoorDash after I finish the meal again. Like when I'm high. When you're high, you don't get full.
How much is DoorDash?
You just want more food.
How much is DoorDash in the States, by the way? I'm curious.
It's more for every. It's equivalent to Uber Eats, equivalent to Postmates, equivalent to all of them.
I don't know what that means though. Like I never use it.
You don't know what DoorDash is?
I know what it is. I just never used. I'm just curious about the price in general because in Europe when I did use it, it was like $1 per delivery. It's dirt cheap.
Okay, so here DoorDash. Every item on the menu for the restaurant is upcharged by like $1. So after you add all that to your cart, then you have to pay. There's tax. There's a service fee, which is like $3. There's a delivery fee, which can be anything from like 99 cents if you're lucky to like it can go up to $10. And then there's like a third fee. There's something else, and then there's tip.
Oh, that's
you
right.
kind of have to tip if you don't want to be an ass.
Right.
And then all those combined. In half the time, the food's cold by the time it gets to you because they have multiple stops.
So it ends up being like $20 usually, or $15-$20 on average.
Something that if you go to the drive-through would be like $6 would be like $20 delivered.
Oh, bud, we're getting robbed.
So when
here.
you're high, DoorDash is what you. I wasted so much money on DoorDash the beginning of this year because when I'm high, I'm not going to drive because I don't. I'm not going to do that. And then so I have to DoorDash food, and it's so expensive. But when I'm high, all I want to do is eat food. So I order so much food.
Dude, you'd have a problem in Europe because when I was in Spain, literally it was a dollar or sorry, a euro, maybe €2, and then the tip was €1 or €2, and you can get any place
Japan
you want.
in Asia, like Japan, tips are frowned upon. It's like rude to tip.
Oh, really?
I wish. Yeah, I wish that was the case worldwide.
I've been to Japan. I didn't know that.
It's just a company underpaying employees and making the customers pay their wages. Like, how does that make sense? Who came up with that?
I've been to Japan, but I don't remember that. I guess I never tipped because like.
Well, if you tip someone in Japan, they were probably like. I think it's looked at in Japan as like, hey, I know you really need this.
Right. Yeah. Now that I think about it, I think it's included in the price. I think the same with Europe. It's like you don't usually tip in most of the time. Now I'm not saying every place, but yeah, you don't. Huh. Fascinating.
Yeah, the U.S. is kind of stupid like that. Like,
I can't wait for you to get out of the U.S., dude. I am so excited. When you do your first trip out of the U.S., and if you do decide to go to Europe and I'm in there, you stop by, oh my God, you're going to be in for a treat.
After this grind, probably mid next year, like summer next year, assuming COVID doesn't strike back in a horrible way, I want to start going on some trips. I want to go on trips in 2020, but COVID ruined it. Like, I couldn't leave the country. I couldn't even leave the state in some cases, but I've barely been anywhere. Like, I've only traveled to a couple states on the East Coast of the US. That is it. I've never been to the West Coast of the US, never been out of the US. So I would love to. I think I should probably start somewhere on this continent, like, I don't know, Canada or Alaska would be cool, even though it's still the US.
Don't come here.
Or California. I'd like to go to like Yosemite National Park or like something like that.
Don't come here.
But then I have to get a passport. I don't even know how that process works. I need to figure all that out. And then I want to go to Japan. Really
Japan's
bad.
sick. I would recommend
Korea.
I
want to go on a North Korea guided tour.
I was on board. I was so on board. I was like, Japan. Yeah. And then you're like, I want to go to North Korea. I'm like,
Have you seen the YouTube vlogs of people going on them? It's not necessarily a pleasurable trip. It's more of a life experience, fascination. Like, it's fascinating to me. Look, hold on.
This is
I'm reading this book right now called Becoming Kim Jong-un. I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I'm not trying to become Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, I was going to say, this ends with like a cut, and it's like you in North Korea becoming like a citizen and just staying there.
Become Kim Jong-un for Dummies is the book. Just become the North Korean leader. No, I would just want to go for just to see what it's like. You know, it's such a different place from everywhere else in the world, and I want to be careful with what I say here so they don't like background check me and like kill me or something. But you can go.
Just saying that, I think.
Did I ruin it?
Yeah, that might ruin. I think you've done counter what you wanted to do there. Have you seen the Joe Rogan podcast with the chick that was from North Korea?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude. Okay.
I've only seen a couple of podcasts of his, like the Kanye one. I don't watch him religiously.
Okay, you don't have to watch the one with him if you don't like Joe Rogan or if you want to watch something else. There's this girl that was escaped North Korea. She was on the podcast. She was also on like Jordan Peterson podcast. She was in a few other podcasts. But her story is insane. Some of the shit she went through, I feel like once you watch that, I think maybe you'll put North Korea on the back burner, like very low on that list.
It's definitely not a priority. I just kind of threw it out there because it's interesting. I want to go to Japan. South Korea, I would like to go to.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'm watching the show on Apple TV called Dr. Brain. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's crazy. Only 2 episodes have come out, but it takes place in Korea, and it makes Korea look more advanced than the U.S. Honestly, like with. It looks really cool.
Oh, it looks interesting.
Yeah, they didn't really market it that much, but I saw it and I was like, that looks interesting. Dude, it's crazy. It's about a guy who made this machine. He puts it on a dead person's head and he can transmit their memories into his head. He starts getting crazier and crazier trying to unravel this like mystery.
It's like a Black Mirror episode. Yeah, this is sick. It's like a Black Mirror episode.
No, it's like a whole Black Mirror show. And it's so well filmed and acted and like not cheesy. It's only 2 episodes to come out, but every Friday I think new one comes out. This is almost like an ad, but
yeah, we might have to look.
I really like it.
The content, I mean, the movies and shows, some of them coming out of Korea are insane. They're so well made and interesting.
Squid Games from Korea, yeah.
Yeah, Parasite from Korea. There's so much. I'm actually gonna go down a rabbit hole soon because I found the director.
It's the new Hollywood.
The Korean wood. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go to. I feel like Africa would be cool, like Serengeti, like a guided tour. I wouldn't just go like I would want to, some of these places you really need to be privileged because it's so expensive for a guided tour. I want to go to Antarctica. A guided cruise tour to Antarctica would be sick, as cold as it would be. It's just like, if I'm gonna make a lot of money, I want to like get the most out of it. Where like most people in the YouTube scene, they're just on Twitter all day. I want to be in the real world, getting real world.
You want to be a real boy. You want to be a real boy. I get it. 2 weeks ago, I talked to a guy that lived in Kenya. He was a special effects guy. He worked on some Spielberg movies. He worked on some fucking crazy stuff, and he moved to Kenya as a passion project. And he was telling me about what life was like in Nairobi. I was like, holy fuck! It blew my mind.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah, it's like so interesting
because we live in such a bubble. I feel like it's almost hard to see what it's like in other places without going there. Like
it's
from what I see when I go on the internet, when I go on YouTube, Google, everything's so algorithm based and tailored to you that it's almost impossible to leave your bubble. It's so hard to gain new perspectives. And that's something I've really been trying to work on. And I also think that's a big reason why reading is such a great thing, because books are a great way to learn new perspectives. But like, I feel like so many kids, like younger people these days, they just browse Twitter for their news, or they browse Instagram, and they're in such an algorithmic bubble, like where they're never gonna learn and like experience other perspectives and other sides besides what they see every day. And that's something I'm really trying to like. My goal is to learn as much as I can before I die. Just become as knowledgeable as possible.
I'm with you. I love
learning.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I hate school. I hate how school does learning, but in my own way, I love learning, and that's how humans are naturally wired to be. I read something I forgot what it was, but it said that as humans, like just in terms of evolution, in terms of like what our minds are like from birth, we want to learn. Like our main goal in our minds is to learn our whole life. The problem is school is so punishing, where like you get punished for messing up instead of being taught what you don't know. You get punished. That it makes people afraid of learning. It makes people hate learning. And by the time they graduate high school or college, they never want to learn again. They're done. And I think that's it sets the human race backwards so far.
Like, I'm in the same place as you, though. I'm literally in the same place as you. I've started reading way more. I'm trying to basically do a book a month. I'm reading. I have a lot of free time, and I'm very grateful for that. But I'm addicted to learning. Like I'll just find a random thing and I'll learn it. Like the past couple of years, I've learned how to swim like 1,000 meters in 30 minutes or whatever. I've started doing hot yoga. I've gotten better at tennis. I've gotten better at fucking whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to get better at. It doesn't really matter what it is. I'm learning Spanish. 2 years now, I've been doing Spanish every day. So I'm hopefully by the time I get to Spain, I'll be close to basic fluency. But I remember I
can speak some Spanish.
Sí. ¿Quieres hablar en español?
Sí.
Sí. We sound so white.
I mean, I have to really think. Like,
yeah.
If I want to say, like, if I'm stranded in Mexico, I think I could survive. I could be like, I could be like Tango Hombre. I mean, I'm hungry. Or I could be like Quiero El Baño. It's not correct grammar, but they know what I mean.
It's
right?
enough. It's enough. It's enough to get by. It's like what I call
Tu madre es puta, or is that how you say it?
Your mother is a cunt. Yeah.
Or like
Tu madre es una puta, amigo.
Me llamo Noah.
That's good. Yeah, not bad, my guy. You're already getting ready for that Spanish movement. I love this. This is great.
I do want to learn a new language. I don't know if it's going to be Spanish though, but like I want to do like, I don't know if Duolingo is a thing. Maybe I'll pirate Rosetta Stone because I heard that's like a good one. But or pay for it.
Pay for it. If we're just to let everyone know, he misspoke there. He said he will pay for a legal version of the software. So I just want to make sure everyone's on board there. But if you need any resources, I'll tell you.
Piracy?
Don't do this. Actually, don't do this. Don't expose yourself.
It's fine. Trust me. Trust where I'm going with this. I will say, in the past, I'm one of the biggest pirates of all time. I probably pirated hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of things. However, I have also spent more money on things than anyone I know. And I think piracy is almost a form of marketing that leads to sales. And that's actually been proven in studies, but companies don't want to admit it. If you pirate a game, you're more likely to buy a game in that franchise or that exact game. Like if I pirate a game on my computer of a franchise like Far Cry or something, and I'm like, wow, this is really fun, I'm more likely to buy the new Far Cry on my PlayStation than if I had never played it. It's like a free trial in a way.
You'll see what I did in the edit. You're gonna really love it. I pulled out a GIF of from Tom and Jerry where he's calling, and then there just says FBI on the thing. But no, I agree with you. I agree with you.
If you use a good VPN, I have a VPN based in Sweden, and technically speaking, I could mail them cash with a 10-digit number with no return address, and they will activate that 10-digit number. So I go on my computer, I go to VPN, I type in that 10-digit number, and I'm connected with zero trace to me because it was a cash envelope. Like, how is there any trace to me?
I love it.
Unless they think.
I love it.
So,
let's get canceled.
Speaking, I could never get caught.
Let's get absolutely
cancel me for piracy. Does anyone actually care about piracy? I feel like
maybe the government
that do the canceling.
Yeah, the
government. They're so anti-business that they're so anti-corporate that they would promote piracy. They'd be like, yes, like Twitter would never cancel you for piracy.
Yo, this is a great, interesting topic. But before that, one more thing I wanted to say. When you were talking about a long time ago, this was when we were just chatting on Instagram, you were saying like, oh, I'm looking for like something to change my perspective, and you were telling me, oh, I'm gonna do various drugs or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay, interesting, run it, let's see what happens. But I think another way to do that, which is what we just talked about, traveling is a huge epiphany moment, especially for me. When I realized I wasn't really enjoying where I lived, I was like, how the hell can I get out of here? And as soon as I realized like that I am not going to be happy in where I'm currently at, I realized, okay, I need to change whatever I need to change to make that a goal. And I think maybe you won't have a drastic epiphany, but maybe you'll have a like, oh man, I didn't know this other place was that awesome. I could be living here. You're telling me they got mojitos at 12 o'clock every day? This is amazing. I'm going to move here.
Right.
Maybe you'll have a similar epiphany. Maybe to me, Japan was mind blowing. Japan was like a different, to me, Japan might have been its own continent or its own planet. Like it felt completely out of this world. Japan doesn't seem like it's from this reality. It's such a different place.
When I watch vlogs, it looks so crazy, but like in an awesome way. Like, oh man, I want to go.
You're gonna have a good time. But back to the piracy thing, I did want to say something. There was a developer who came on the podcast. This was very interesting. So he made a game called Heroes Might and Magic, which was a very successful turn-based game. It was not available in a lot of Eastern European countries, and those places ended up pirating that game, and I was probably one of those people as well, because that's when I lived. That's where I lived when I was younger. But here's the interesting part: when I asked them, like, "Hey, do you have any regrets about the piracy, or are you like upset?" Because there's like reports that have said that maybe millions of copies of this game pirated. So think about how much money that company lost, But he's like, "No, I'm not. Like, I'm just happy everyone got to play the game, and the game is alive 20 years later." Because of that community. The people that pirated the game are to this day keeping it alive. It's like there's like esports tournaments in Poland with the game that's 20 plus years old, and they invited this guy to be like a host or to talk about the game. So it's kind of weird, like this community that you would think, oh well, they're doing something illegal, they're pirating the game. They're literally what's keeping the game alive 20 plus years later. So that to me was very interesting. Yeah.
I'm of the belief that, about that, I'm of the belief that a pirated copy of a game is not a lost sale, because I think a lot of people who pirate do so only because they can't afford.
Oh, you're cutting out. Sorry. Hold up. Oh, we lost you. Maybe your.
Yeah, I keep getting a phone call.
We were talking about piracy and. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people that pirate games do so either because they're a tech-savvy kid who has no money, or they're an adult that really doesn't have that much money. I think a large majority of pirates are people that are trying to access something that is in their country or something that they can't afford. So when you pirate a game from that standpoint, when you do have money down the road, now you have that game, like as you were talking about, you play that game, you love that game, you're going to buy, it's marketing is what it is.
Yeah.
Where, man, dings, dude. People need to leave me alone.
You're such a popular guy. God damn.
It's just two people. But anyway, I feel like in that sense, piracy is almost a good thing for a developer. However, if it's like an indie game and there's like no DRM, and I think DRM sucks, by the way, but if there's no DRM and people who can afford the game pirate it just to save money, like I don't like that, because you should support a developer, especially an indie developer.
Of course, yeah.
If it's like a AAA title like Madden, I see zero moral issues with pirating that on your computer
all day.
Because you can't even play online if you pirate. So it's not like you're getting the full experience because the servers won't work unless you have a legit copy. So if it's like a giant, like Adobe, for example, I would recommend pirating Adobe software. There's a reason I'm switching over to a Final Cut Pro. And instead of using Photoshop, I'm using, what's it called? I just did a tutorial today. I love it. It's
Photoshop. There's an alternative Photoshop?
on Mac. Yeah. It's amazing. It's like really, hold on, let me pull it.
Photoshop alternatives. Looking this up for anyone that's still listening here.
Oh, yeah. It's called
Affinity?
It's called Pixelmator Pro.
Pixelmator.
It's made for Apple computers.
Oh.
And it's incredible.
Really?
I think it was, it costed money. I paid for it. It was like, I don't know, $40, I think, maybe. It's amazing. It has all the features of Photoshop and different features, in the way it's presented makes it really easy. I think my thumbnail game is going to go to the next level now because of this. It's crazy.
Wow,
like,
this is interesting. It looks very clean.
Well,
very nice interface. I like this.
Main reason I hate Adobe, you can't just buy their products. You have to pay a subscription.
Yes, that's new though. That wasn't always like that, was it?
Yeah, you used to be able to just go to the store. You could pay $100-something and you get Photoshop. You have Photoshop forever until the new one comes out. But even then, you can still use your 2016 Photoshop forever. Now you can't buy any Adobe products permanently. Same, Microsoft Office is going that route too. I do pay for that just because, like, Word and Excel, like, there's no comparison to Excel.
Google spreadsheets or whatever.
I don't really like Google, but that's a separate issue.
Man, this has got so many enemies.
Very pro privacy in this online age. Very anti-personalized ads, anti-spying, all that stuff.
So you're
very
big into
anti-that.
crypto? Are you big into crypto?
Kind of. I invested in something called I didn't finish what I was saying.
I don't even know what we're talking about. Yeah,
I did invest in Solana. If you've heard of Solana,
yeah,
and I made a decent profit from that. I bought it at like $20. Like one Solana was worth $20, and I sold it when it was like 200. So I made profit. Now it's going up to 300. So I wish I didn't sell, but whatever. I mean,
Right.
It's not that big of a deal. And I only bought like $400 worth of it. If I had more money, you could have actually be a millionaire right now. If you invest in Solana like the start of the year and you sell it right now. If you invested like a couple tens of thousands of dollars, you'd be really rich. So before that, I was talking about piracy.
Piracy, yeah.
Right. So I'm switching to no more Adobe products. So the only ones I used to use Audition. I switched to Audacity a while ago. I used to use Premiere Pro to edit. I still technically do on my desktop. Not going to comment on how I acquired it, but
after all that,
Adobe is crazy. If someone says they pirated their software to make content, they will flag your YouTube videos. So I'm going to say,
no way, really?
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't put that in.
I can edit it. It's fine. Apologies for the interruption. Soft Drink and myself do not condone piracy of any kind, and every conversation we've had about this topic has been satirical in nature. Thank you. It's fine.
You could just bleep it, or I don't know. You figure it out. But I'm switching away completely from Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm switching to Final Cut, and Photoshop was the one I didn't think I could switch from. And I found Pixelmator Pro, and I started watching it. They have their own YouTube channel where they have their own tutorials. They have this tutorial playlist, and it's crazy. It shows you. It's like they have a tutorial on how to recreate Apple's keynote presentation in their program. They have a YouTube thumbnail 20-minute tutorial, and it's official by the people that make the software.
What is it called again? Pixelmator?
Pixelmator Pro. Like Mater is Mator.
Yeah. This is. I have a PC,
Mater.
so I can't have access to this, but
Right.
It looks interesting nonetheless. Pixelmator.
I just switched to Mac. I just bought the new MacBook Pro because it benchmarked higher than my desktop with Apple has their own chip now. They don't use Intel or AMD.
Yeah.
They have their own chip, and it's insane. It's insane. And I'm really liking the Apple experience. Much less bloatware, much more secure. You know, like all your apps, you have to set manually permissions for them to track you and all that stuff. They don't just do it out of the box. Like on Android phones or on a Windows computer, you're opted in automatically to all that stuff.
Right.
It's so messed up. Like that's stuff that people like Edward Snowden were like. I'm a big fan of Edward Snowden. If you watch him in podcasts and stuff,
I've seen him. Yeah.
do you know who he is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
I'm a big fan of him and what he believes in. But
he's coming on the pod next week. We're meeting in Russia.
Honestly, he's kind of like the ultimate person because he risked his life and job for what he felt was the greater good, and that's something that almost no one will do. Like, look at YouTubers. They won't even stop doing a clickbait or promoting like a bad company for just a little bit of money.
Yeah,
like, he literally risked his whole life.
Yeah.
Something unrelated I did remember I wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of about loot boxes and microtransactions and all that. So since I've switched to Apple products, I've noticed this service called Apple Arcade. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
It's $5 a month or $40 a year. And basically on an iPhone, an iPad, an Apple TV, or a Mac, you get access to all these games for free. But the most important thing to me is none of these games are allowed to have microtransactions.
Oh, really?
They're not allowed to have in-app purchases at all. So what you'll see is a bunch of old apps like Angry Birds. Like, I don't know if you remember this. Angry Birds originally was 99 cents in the App Store. It was just the full game. It was fun. It was awesome. They took it off the App Store, replaced it with Angry Birds 2, which was free, full of microtransactions. It sucks, right? The Apple Arcade version of Angry Birds is just like the OG Angry Birds. It's awesome. So the most interesting thing I found is NBA 2K22 Arcade. NBA 2K, everyone knows, is like one of the most like heavily monetized sports games.
Right.
Because my career is monetized, my team is monetized. There's VC everywhere. The Apple Arcade version cannot have microtransactions. So for $40 a year, you're getting a version of 2K that is less predatory than the flagship $70 version. For less money,
crazy,
you're getting a version of 2K that doesn't have, like, my career in it is fair. Like, you level up way faster. It's definitely not as full featured. It's a mobile game. But I think supporting this, which I'm supporting, I'm paying for it. I'm not telling people to because I don't want to be like an ad. But I feel like supporting something like this, watching it grow as phones get more powerful, as tablets get more powerful. If this service can be the future of gaming, that's incredible because it's the like antithesis of what mobile games have become with no microtransactions. Like, that is something I will support because only good games are going to come out of it. Only games that developers make for the user to have fun are going to come out of it. Where many games today, pretty much every sports game today that comes out, the only reason it exists is to make money, is to suck more money out of you after you buy it. These games, you pay your $5 a month and they're just trying to get you to download it. Like, they just got to make a good game. I think it's a great service. Despite me saying earlier I don't like Adobe subscription only fee, I think in this case a subscription,
it makes sense.
I like.
In some places it makes sense. Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah. And I mean, I could play it on my iPad, my phone, my Apple TV. If I want to play it on my TV, I can connect an Xbox controller to it, and my MacBook. So, in the progress of all the apps is seamless with all the devices. So, as you can tell, it's getting dark outside. My lighting has gotten progressively worse. Let me turn the light on.
No, you're good. It doesn't matter. It's all good. Do you know what happened to the Angry Birds guy? Do you know the story of his life? That's a good.
Angry Birds guy? You mean the Flappy Bird guy?
Flappy Bird. Sorry, yeah, Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
He is a.
Yeah, I heard about it. He got overwhelmed by the success and like, removed the app.
It's so wild. He was making like $70K a day, and he's just like, dude.
That reminds me of what you were talking about earlier with like getting a taste of success on YouTube. I feel like as weird as this is going to sound, when I listen to like a Drake song, I can almost relate to the lyrics to a point where before I never would have, but like he'll say things about like fake people and what it's like at the top and, you know, having money and like the boredom and having too much like time on your hands, the negatives that come with it, as privileged as they sound. It's like I can relate where even if on a really small scale, of course, because like he could drop what I make in a year in like every 5 minutes, you know?
Right. No, it's not that. It's like, about the relatability of you being kind of outside your own little bubble. Because like we're talking about people that work from home. First of all, working from home before the last 2 years was a pretty privileged position to be in. I would say you were not lucky enough most people weren't lucky enough to work from home. Then 2, making a stable income from home without ever leaving your fucking bedroom. And then 3, doing something that you love or that you really enjoy and not having to go into this like a corporate thing or whatever the hell it is, you combine those three and we're talking about like statistical anomalies, like if we were looking at a couple years ago, let's say. So yeah, in a sense, you can relate to it on a much smaller scale, but you can say, okay, I work in this industry where a lot of people are snakes. Okay, I work from home or whatever it is. I'm making money that I never thought I would make. And maybe for Drake, that's $100 million. For you, that could be 100,000. Whatever it is, it has a element of relatability to it.
Yeah. But the important thing is to stay grounded, though, because it's easy to want to complain, but any normal person who hears you complain is going to roll their eyes. That's just how it is.
To me, I think you need to find something that humbles you, and I don't know what that would necessarily be. You know what I mean? For everyone, it's different. I think I told you about this a while ago, but I think I want to do jiu-jitsu. I haven't had time recently, but I want to enroll and do that again. But it doesn't have to be that. Like, to me, that could be anything. Like the swim. Like, swims are never easy. Swimming is always fucking hard. I don't know what it is. It never gets easier. Maybe I get a little bit better every time, but to me, it's not like I'm going in there to relax. This is like just a grueling 30, 40 minutes. And to me, doing that every day keeps you kind of grounded. It's like, it doesn't matter what you do, how successful you are. It's like, Monday morning, I'm going to be in that pool. Whether I have $1 million or I have $100,
it's discipline.
I'm going to be there, and it's going to be, I'm putting that work in. And that's, once you build that habit, just like you were talking about bad habits, we talked about potentially, getting too much weed or too much whatever the drug is, the alcohol, you can develop those same addictive personality traits that you have in positive ways, which you've clearly done because you're uploading regularly, you're taking care of your shape, mentally, you're probably more sound than ever. So clearly you found a way to use that to your advantage, as opposed to some people that can go down the rabbit hole and it can be a disadvantage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to go down the rabbit hole. It was really hard for me to get out of it. But I will say I'm much happier, much more productive, and much better when I'm sober. Like, when you're high, you want to always be high, and you don't think being sober is fun at all. But when you're actually fully sober, like you've let it all get out of your system, you just feel so much better. And then not for everyone. Some people like smoke weed medically because they have a ton of pain and all that. Like, yeah, totally, because that's going to make you feel way better because it's balancing out the pain. But if you're just a regular old dude and you're getting high all the time, like you probably know you could be more productive. You probably know you could eat healthier. You probably like. I think recently there's been such a strong like push for marijuana as being this like awesome no harm drug, and it has definitely negatively affected me more than it has positively affected me.
It's purely legal here in Canada. Do you know that? It's illegal in the entire country. And there's been many legal. It's fully legal everywhere. Legal. It's legal at a federal level. I
support that. Yeah. I will say. If you want to smoke weed, why should you have to go through a sketchy dealer? Like, I think it should be legal because the government can just tax it and make money. And just because it's legal doesn't mean there's really no negative to it.
We have had so many stores open up. It's crazy.
Legal, weed should be legal.
Yeah. We've had so many cannabis stores open up here. It's actually fucking insane, dude. You see, like, McDonald's, like, how much McDonald's there are in America? Mm-hmm. That's always, like, the joke, the cliche, whatever. There's literally that many cannabis stores now in Canada. I cannot drive a mile without seeing a cannabis store.
Turn this light on.
It's crazy. But, yeah, it's like...
Yeah. Well, for you, do you partake in that?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the smoking. What I do is, like, these little gummies. That's what I fuck with usually. And it's not really, as you can see, it's got a little dust on it, so you can tell already that I haven't touched it in a while. But once in a while,
so
it's a good time.
Good. You're using it casually. The problem with me is if I buy a bag of edibles, I have to just every single day until the bag is gone.
Really?
And that's just I can't just let it sit out on my counter and not like I've always had that problem. Like junk food as well. If I have like a ton of junk food in my pantry, I'm probably gonna like eat too much food. I'm more of like I need to have like very few. I think that's just my addictive personality. I'm just trying to think of ways.
Right? They're distractions, aren't they?
Right. I'm just trying to think of like life hacks for me personally, because everybody's different. And for me, I'm way better when I'm sober, just in every way. Like I feel great right now. I feel awesome. If we did this podcast, like I don't know, April, May, June, like I probably have a lot less energy. Honestly, if you go back to the last podcast we did, I probably seem more energetic and better at talking here than back then.
100%. Yeah, well, I mean, before that, when we did our first podcast, if I remember, first of all, there was no video, so you were still very shy, really shy.
I wasn't video shy. I didn't have a webcam.
Oh, is that it? But you didn't even. Yeah. Did you even have videos on your channel with your face? I don't think you even did a face reveal.
I still don't really do that. I've only shown my face very briefly. Like I don't really want my face to be my brand because I don't want to be like. I want to be low-key rich, like end goal, like not right now, but like I don't want people to notice me in public and have like I don't want you can have a target on your back and people will want to rob you. Like it's a little you want to be low-key. I mean, my face is right here, but people have to search for this. It's not like this when people think of SoftDrinkTV, they don't picture my face unless they're like in my Discord server. Maybe they do, but
yeah. But you're also a little more, I would say, a little more shy because I remember you were telling me like. You accepted the podcast invite, but then like I think we moved it a day. Like you weren't even busy. You just like fuck. I don't know if I want to do this right or something like that. You were just unsure if you want to even do it.
That's a side effect of marijuana. I think it makes at least for me it makes me very antisocial. It makes me push like someone asks me to hang out. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna cancel plans. It's like that. Where when I'm actually sober and I'm actually myself, like I'm pretty down to do things. So yeah, that's just my experience with it. I think I'm better off without it. But I do think it should be legalized just for safety purposes and medical purposes. And it doesn't negatively affect everybody. It's just me. But I will say I think it's worse than people make it out to be. But it is, if you want to be addicted to anything, I'd say weed is probably one of the best things because, especially edibles, because I didn't smoke it. I just did edibles because I don't want to hurt my lungs or anything like that. If you're like an alcoholic, my uncle, the twin brother of my dad, he had the same issue as my dad. He died of a seizure that was most likely caused from his alcohol addiction. Like it can get really, really bad. It's another reason. Maybe that's another reason why I don't push myself to like alcohol because people tell me like, oh, it's an acquired taste. You'll like beer if you keep drinking it. But I'm like, why? Why do I want to get into that? Why do I want to keep drinking beer?
Beer's a weird one. It's more of a social thing than it is for the taste. I'm not going to say I enjoy the taste of beer over 98% of liquids on the planet, but it's more of a social thing. Like when I'm out with the guys, like it's become such a well-conditioned part of existence that you kind of have to participate. Right. But it's like anything in life. You can either control it or you can let it control you, right? You can let potato chips control you. You can let weed control you. You can let Madden loot boxes control you. You can lose your whole savings on loot boxes. It's human nature, but you have to understand yourself more than anything, so you don't go down those rabbit holes. Do you like my donkey, by the way? Like my little donkey?
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 Oh, donkey?
Donkey?
It looks like Pikachu. What do you mean?
Next to the Pikachu.
Oh, yeah, that's a donkey. I know Donkey. He's one of my favorite YouTubers.
This came in the other day. I was so happy.
You know what that is, right? You know that's a Donkey. That's Donkey's merch, right?
Yeah, I bought it.
That's his. Donkey.
Of course. How do you think this got here? Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think my mom bought Donkey merch?
I don't know. Maybe you saw it at the store. I don't know what it's like where you live.
Are you crazy?
I've never left the east coast of the U.S. How can I know what they sell at the store?
There's a polar bear. I'm in Canada. No, there's a polar bear outside my apartment. I have to literally fight that thing every day.
You live in Canada?
Yeah.
Why'd you say visit you in Spain?
That's the dream. That's where we're going. I'm currently working on a visa to get to Spain. I was there last summer.
Why do you want to go there? Is it better than Canada, in your opinion?
Oh, bud, dude. So my original background is European. Like I'm Eastern European. So to me, Europe is always Europe feels to me like home. So I think, people get annoyed if I talk about Spain again, but I love Spain. I've traveled to 20 different countries on the planet. I've traveled to China, Japan, Thailand, Ireland, Scotland, England. I've traveled to Italy, Germany, Cuba, Costa Rica, Dominican. I've been so many places, and to me, Spain felt right. It felt like home. The food is really amazing. The people are super nice. The cost of living is about half of what it is in my little shithole city. The nightlife is way better. There's a beach. Valencia is where I want to be. There's a beach. Mm-hmm. The weather never goes below like 15. So it's always warm. Even in the colder months, it stays like 10 to 15.
15
Celsius. I don't know whatever that is in Europe.
I don't know Celsius.
It's
I've got all the
t-shirt
dumb
weather.
US measurements.
T-shirt weather, okay?
Do you know Fahrenheit? Or do you not know Fahrenheit the way I don't know Celsius?
I don't know Fahrenheit the way you don't know Celsius. So yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, anyways, what else? Temperature, traveling within Europe is dirt cheap. We went to Mallorca for $30. Mallorca, which is like one of the most beautiful islands on the planet. Literally, it was like a weekend trip. I don't know.
I want to go to Geneva, Switzerland. Have you been to Geneva?
I have not been to Geneva. That's Switzerland. It's a little too pricey for my taste, but hey, when I'm in Spain,
it's pricey.
I'll get there. It's very
I don't know
expensive.
anything about the prices.
I have a friend who works there right now. It's unbelievable how expensive. She's making like $100K a year, and she's like broke there. Like that's how expensive Switzerland is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Switzerland is like, isn't it one of the most advanced countries? Like compared to the U.S., it makes the U.S. look like a joke. Or is that Norway? So those Scandinavian countries, I've heard, like,
what does that mean? Though?
Their standard of living.
Oh,
standard of living.
Yeah, quality of living. I think. I think quality of living.
I mean, in America, right? If we like break our bones or we like start dying, we go to the hospital, we have to pay for the ambulance.
Yes.
We have to pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're like the only developed country that does that. The only. And then you have half the country defending that, which would be the Republicans, which might be part of your audience, so they might hate you / me now. I don't know.
Who cares?
But I mean, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I'm not Twitter, so I just have a preference.
I used to work in the States, dude.
People having different opinions.
I know what the little healthcare bullshit you guys got going on there. I worked in the States, and I literally remember telling myself, because I used to commute. I lived on the border. I would commute to work every day in the States. I would work in like near Detroit, like Dearborn area. And I remember, like, if I die here, I'm gonna fucking find a way to drive myself back home, because I'm not gonna leave my family with the massive bill that's gonna be left if I die in the States. I'm gonna find a way to get back home.
If you have a good job, though, you do get insurance that will cover most of it. The problem with YouTube is there
none of that. Yeah, there ain't none of that there. Yeah. So
I'm technically still on my parents' insurance on my stepdad's job he has, but they said that's going to expire soon. So I think I might just have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah.
If I have to go somewhere once the insurance expires, which sucks. Same with retirement, right? Like most jobs have a 401k match, which is like ideal. YouTube doesn't. So instead of a 401k, I use a Roth IRA and I invest in a target date fund. And that is the best option if you don't have 401k match from an employee. 401k match will make slightly more, but
I know. I've had these
if I follow this,
makes sense.
When I turn 65, I'll have $3-ish million after inflation based on the last 100 years trend of the U.S. stock market.
Wow, you've looked that far ahead, eh? Holy shit. That's very...
Yeah, well, you can't take Roth IRA money out until you're 65. So, but my... To retire, I just have to get to 65. That's how I can know I can retire. Because that $3 million you get when I turn 65, that's enough to last until I die. That's plenty. And I'll probably have more saved up by then anyway. But
let me ask you this. Can I ask you something? What are your expectations? Because this American stuff, I think I know most of it. I worked in the States for a couple of years. What are your expectations when you do go to Europe? What do you think it's going to be like? Kind of curious.
I think it'll be a lot cleaner, first of all. Like less litter, less just gross, like exhaust and just like... The U.S. looks gross in most subdivisions. I think people will be friendlier. People will be more likely to like say hi when they walk by or something. I think things will be cheaper, maybe. I actually don't know.
Yeah, they will be.
I just think there will be more walking. You can walk to places more because it's like the countries in Europe are smaller than the U.S., so it's less like highway, more just like... I would love
big
that.
Cities.
Like to walk around the city rather than... Where I live is a suburb where I have to drive if I want to go anywhere, pretty much. It sucks.
No, when I moved to Europe, I'm not going to have a car. There's no need for a car. They have public transportation, really good bus systems, really good metro systems. Most big European cities have extremely good public transportation. Kind of like New York has good public transportation, right? Metro.
Yeah.
I don't even know if...
Well, speaking of cars, I did buy my first cool car because I had a... not crazy, though. I didn't go too crazy, but I had just a cheap used Mazda 3, which was fine. But I had that car while working at a grocery store making $8 an hour. So, $8
an hour? What the fuck? $8 an hour? That's legal there?
This year, yeah, yes. This year I was like, wait a second. I'm not making 8 an hour anymore. I could get an upgrade to my car and it wouldn't even affect me that much. So I got a Toyota Supra 2021. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you at the window.
Oh, wow. This is exclusive. A Toyota. I'm glad you bought
All right,
a Korean. No, Toyota's Japanese car.
How do I flip my camera, bro? Well, it's actually a BMW with a Toyota branding. Here, can you see? Do you see the red sports car?
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, that's what I have. So I guess I'm flexing right now, but it was only the car was only 40 something thousand. Like, it's not that bad compared to like a $1 million car or something.
Sure.
But it's made by BMW. I gotta turn my lights back on. It's made by BMW. All Toyota did was the outside styling. It's a BMW Z4 Coupe, is what it is.
Sick, nice.
So,
dude.
yeah, I really like it. It's sick.
Yeah,
I feel awesome. I do wish. Sometimes I feel weird driving it though. Like, I feel like people are looking at me, which I guess they are because it's like not the most common car. But like, sometimes I wish I had a car that was more like down low. So it's not like, look at me in my red sports car, because I don't like being. Like, what's the word? Braggadocious? Is that a word?
I mean, I don't think so, but it sounds legit.
Yeah, it sounds legit, but I don't like. I get uncomfortable if I feel like I'm bragging. Like, I don't want to sound like that. But I just want to show because it looks cool and I like it.
Yeah, awesome, dude. There's no way that's not going to be taken as a big flex, but that's okay. Flex.
Oh, you don't have to put it in the podcast then. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Another thing is I'm trying not to care as much about what people think of me. I've always had that problem. It's really hard. It really is hard, especially as a YouTuber, because your views kind of depend on your viewers liking you, I think, in a sense. But
it's hard to disconnect from the comments because even though they're sometimes useful, they're also like such a small minority of what your actual audience is. So it's like, why am I looking at what the smallest minority thinks of me? It's like, who gives a fuck? So it's like,
right.
Yeah.
Like normally I would get super bothered by comments like that. NHL. I made a video on the fall of NHL games. And unlike the FIFA video, I actually I researched it and blah, blah, blah. It's actually pretty good. Like for me, for talking about a topic I never talk about, at least in my opinion. And I got a couple comments that were like, sounds like you just lost in HUT, Hockey Ultimate Team, and you're mad about it. And it's like, bro, I've never even played HUT. Like, do you know who I am? Like, I'm just trying to document something. And I played the new game. I played a few NHL games in the past, and I did research and I played old games for the video. But like, people say stupid stuff a lot, but I don't really care anymore because like.
You want to hear the extreme of that? The stream version of that? I have a friend who's literally gotten top 100 on the planet every single FIFA for the past 5 FIFAs. And he, to this day, will still get people saying, like, if he loses a game or what, something in his footage that he complains about, like, he'll complain about, like, a technical issue with the game. Hey, like, this is a broken pass, this is a glitch in the game, shouldn't happen.
And they tell him he's just mad that he's bad? He just needs to get good?
My guy is literally 100 out of one of the top 100 players of a game that's played by 10 million. Do you understand how crazy that is? So, like,
I mean,
it's insanity to get to that level. It's like the equivalent of trying to be an NFL player. Like, it's so tough to be that.
People are really stupid. They think if your opinion is different than theirs, then there must be something wrong. Like, you must just be bad. They can't change their opinion based on the evidence you're presenting, no matter how well presented it is, no matter how objective it is.
They're in love with their own opinion too much. They're just in love with it. They don't want to let it go.
I mean, I have so many people that will comment something that is literally addressed in the first 30 seconds of a video. I think lots of people will click on a title and reply to the title in the comments and then do something else. That happens.
That's their life, yeah.
Like,
I guess my point was, like, just don't even worry about those, because, like, even if you thought in your head, maybe I can get good enough that even, like, no one would ever complain about me being good enough, you actually, like, scientifically can't, because my guy has gotten as good as you actually can get, and he'll still get those comments. So it's like you're chasing this ghost that you'll never catch. So, like, don't even worry about it.
I used to get really bothered by comments, but as I've started to really understand my situation and how privileged it is, it's like just stupid. With the money I can make, why am I focusing on what one person says, who's a stranger.
Yeah, that you've never met, no face to his identity, no credibility to his comment.
They could be the biggest loser in the world. They could be the richest. Like, they could be literally anyone. Why do I care?
Right.
You know, like, I don't care what someone in freaking Portugal is saying right now. But if it's a comment on my video, it's like, it makes you want to care. But I'm in a better state of mind now where I'm not taking it so seriously. Also, the Madden videos bring a lot of that for some reason. Like, my Madden videos, almost all of them have at least 1,000 dislikes, like the ones criticizing it. But it's a good ratio because I have it's still like a 95% ratio, but most of my videos are a 99% ratio. The Madden videos really anger people. So since recently I haven't been doing Madden videos, I've been trying different things. The comment sections have been a lot more just wholesome, and it's kind of hard to find anything that would bother me.
My friend has the same problem. It's not about that. It's I think those videos are because they reach a broader audience, and a lot of them aren't your regular viewers. So like these random people tuning in that have no desire for anyone to change their opinion. It doesn't matter if you brought like concrete evidence that is like a double placebo study proven by 3 doctors at Harvard. It wouldn't have mattered because they were already going into a narrow-minded. So it's like, those were people that you were never going to change anyways. But that's kind of a big problem when you get to big numbers. When you get to big numbers, you'll always get people that will literally refute the most factual comment you could make. So it doesn't really matter what you say.
Unfortunately, I've had that since the start, because from the start I got widespread views, you know? So I've always had to deal with that kind of stuff, but it's really not that bad. Like, if your top comments under your video are critical, then you kind of want to like really look into them. But if like you're sorting by new and you see a mean comment, why
bother?
care?
Right.
Because all my videos, you scroll through the top comments, they're all nice. It's just when you sort by new. And the problem is, YouTube Studio. When you open YouTube Studio, it pops up with the 3 most recent comments. So that's where I would always get bothered, because that's where I would see someone saying something that
Stupid,
I'm like, I addressed that. or something that makes me mad. But again, like I said, I'm doing a lot better in terms of not getting bothered by it.
I only care what my friends think and what my family thinks. Anyone else that has an opinion is, and I say this in the nicest way possible. Like, even if you have a positive opinion, I'm appreciative, but I never think about it. I never, oh my God, this guy fucking jerking me off. He loved that video. Great. This guy hates me. He wants to kill my whole family. Fucking great. I know who I am. And I'm not defined by comments. I'm defined by people around me. And if I do something that's out of line, and if someone that I know that I trust steps in and says, "Hey man, you were wrong here," I'll take an actual listen. But for the most part, it's like, who cares? Every asshole has an opinion. Why should I listen to you more than myself or someone else? It's a ship with holes that are endless. There's an endless amount of holes. You're never gonna fill them up. So it's like your effort to try to fill them is pointless. That's how I see it, at least. But
and these comments criticizing you, they don't have all the knowledge and insight that you have from what you're doing. So it's like they're coming from a perspective of just ignorance most of the time, which, I mean, is fine. It's not like they're supposed to know, but like, as the creator, you shouldn't get that bothered by it. And I think it's normal for a creator to be bothered by comments when you first start out. But I think you have to get to a point where you stop getting bothered by it.
It's human psychology. It's human psychology. It's the most fundamental level. Of course, we weren't programmed to do this.
The negativity bias.
Yeah, that's true too. You can get 98%
positive.
One
negative comment, rent free. The hundreds and hundreds of nice comments, I don't remember them.
Yeah.
I wish I could rewire my brain to have a positivity bias.
Yeah.
And I'd be like Mr. Rogers or something.
You get just a little boost every time someone, like it's like a Gatorade boost every time someone gives you a positive comment. You can run an extra mile or some shit.
Looking good. I mean, nice compliments are kind of like that, because if you were talking to someone in public, they're like, "Wow, like your eyes are beautiful." It's like, "Oh, okay, I'm happy today now." Or like if a pretty girl says something nice to you, or someone like from people who you care about their opinion.
Sure. I mean, we were not designed for this. Like the reactions you have to both negative and positive are perfectly normal. But we weren't designed to handle it on this scale and digitally. Right. We're only like 30 years into this game. We're not even like programmed to understand what 1,000 people watching your video, what 1 million people watching your video even means. Just imagine in your mind what 1 million people watching your videos.
To talk to this many people or hear from this many people. Like your bubble, like 50 years ago, your bubble would be like 50 people tops. And
Exactly.
now it's like on the internet, you can get ratioed with like 10,000 likes. 10,000 people hate you, and you have to deal with that.
Right.
But again, the money that comes with YouTube makes it worth it. So I don't want to complain about it. But if you're just a random guy who gets like destroyed and canceled on Twitter, that sucks.
Yeah. I don't want to be that guy.
People, like, do you remember what's her name? Is her name Storm Jackson? Maybe some like old Disney Channel chick. Some guy on Twitter. He tweeted something like guacamole N-word without a hard R penis. He tweeted that one time. This chick went through the effort after seeing that tweet, which is clearly just a joke. Like, he's not trying to be racist. She found his name, his address, his school. She got him like kicked out of college. All this stuff because like he tweeted that. Like, I think that's horrible. And also I heard she actually got the wrong person first, canceled the wrong person, and then she had to go and cancel the right person after.
That's happened a lot too. Yeah, that's happened a lot.
I think people would rather, at least the majority of Twitter users, it seems, would rather tear someone down than educate and help people. It's like they don't care if you improve or if you get better. Like, they don't want to help people. They don't want to educate people. They just want to feel superior to other people by letting them know how wrong they are and how below them they are in terms of their values. I think it's all about superiority complex. Like, the people doing the canceling, they want to feel like, hey, I'm part of a movement. I'm doing something good for the world selfishly, even though they're not.
They want to be in their own pit of despair, ultimately. They want to be those crabs in a barrel, just dragging each other to the bottom so no one gets out. I hate myself. You're all going to hate each other too. It's going to be just bringing everyone down. It's the grossest.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dude, we've done 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's 6 o'clock. You have stuff to do. I don't know. We talked about so much random shit, but I feel like at least your audience and people that watch you, they're going to come and get a much better perspective of who you are as a person that maybe they won't see in these videos. So I wouldn't consider it like, oh, we just talk about random shit. No, we kind of figured out, and your audience got to know who you are on a much deeper level.
Get to know the real soft
The real, and right, there's your title. There's your little title.
The man behind the stupid Pepsi font logo.
There you go. So to me, it was,
my logo is just the Pepsi font. It's just the Pepsi font.
I'll be your lawyer. I'll be a lawyer from now on. He's just joking. That was satire. His logo is actually a satirical thing on the Pepsi logo, and actually has no correlation.
It's under fair use.
It is under fair use. Very good. Very good.
As long as I don't sell it on a T-shirt until I change the logo.
Next thing you know, you get big and fucking Pepsi suing your ass. That'd be hilarious. That'd be so. I've
DM'd Pepsi asking them to sponsor me, and they responded and said, "Sorry, but not now" or something. But they didn't say like, "Hey, change your logo."
Yeah, they didn't even look though.
The only soft drink that actually seemed interested in sponsoring me was Sprite, which is actually really funny. If you've ever seen this Eric Andre skit where he's like breaking down mentally in front of this building because he wants a Sprite sponsorship, and he's like dressed in all this Sprite clothing.
That. That's awesome. I gotta Google that now.
Sprite sponsorship on YouTube.
I'll look that up later.
It's hilarious. But yeah, they actually sent me a link to like apply, but it was too complicated, so I was like, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, there's probably so much shit going on with that kind of stuff, and you don't want to be tied down. But tell people what you're working on, where they can follow you, plug your stuff, so we can finally end this pod.
I'm working on videos on all kinds of sports games and documentaries on sports games, the history, new, old, no matter how old you are, you'll like it. Always something to learn. No matter, even if you never heard of the game, you watch the video, it's going to be well made. You'll enjoy it probably, or maybe. And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and technically TikTok. It's all just at SoftDrinkTV.
SoftDrinkTV.
I would like if you follow me on Twitter, even though I don't use it that often, just because I put channel updates there. And I remade a new Twitter account, and I only have like 600 followers, and I've tried plugging it in my videos, and no one wants to follow me, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, it's so hard to plug things. So
yeah, I'll leave everything in the description. I'll put all the.
If I have at least 1,000 Twitter followers, I don't feel like a loser anymore because like most of my followers, just random people, have more followers than me.
That's so funny.
So. All the big Madden YouTubers, like the Mutt guys, the people that like they have like 100K followers on Twitter. Like, get me there.
Get my guy there, for fuck's sakes. Come on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a guest on the pod. This was an enjoyable conversation, and we'll book that Spanish trip next year for sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Hopefully.
All right, we're done.
It goes according to plan.